Hello, cooking enthusiasts. In today's video, we have my first cocktail recipe in a while, and it is a carbonated cocktail, so you are going to need either a soda siphon or, like I'm using, a soda stream. The other special thing about this cocktail is that it's based around tea, as the title suggests, and I've become obsessed with high-quality loose-leaf tea for almost a year now, and that is mainly thanks to Mayleaf, which is a tea shop and a YouTube channel based in London. They make awesome tea videos, and you should check them out. For this specific cocktail, I'm actually using a Mayleaf tea called Psychic Stream Seeker. It's one of their more expensive teas, but I think it works really well with this cocktail because it has citrus notes, white peach notes, and a good amount of bitterness, which is good for this cocktail because I am somewhat approximating a gin and tonic. Obviously, most people are not going to have this specific tea. If you are really into tea, and specifically raw PuErh, which this is in the category of, I do highly recommend it, but otherwise, I would try to find another raw PuErh, or even in a pinch, a white tea with some fruity notes and some citrus notes and some bitterness. The final bit of background, because everything I do requires background, is how you brew the tea. Now again, because of watching the Mayleaf YouTube channel, I now brew in an originally Chinese method called Gong Fu style brewing. You can look it up, but essentially it involves brewing multiple infusions with the same tea leaves, but having a very high ratio of tea leaves to water. Now, Psychic Stream Seeker easily gave me 12 flavorful infusions, so what I did for my cocktail was I enjoyed 3 or 4 infusions hot in the morning, and then I did several cold brew infusions overnight, leaving them for about a few hours each. Then, the next morning, I did one more hot brew that I reserved for the cocktail, and then kept enjoying the tea leaves. If you're working with tea that you're a little less precious about, you can probably get away with just making 500 mils of cold brew and calling it a day. For the cocktail, you'll also, of course, need gin. I'm using a somewhat local gin that uses kelp as a botanical, which I think would actually go really well with green tea, but that's for another show. You'll also need a 6% citric acid solution. You'll also need some simple syrup. I made a golden simple syrup out of lightly caramelized sugar, but that is optional. On screen are the measurements for exactly 330 mils of cocktail, and that's because this is the ideal amount of liquid to put in the soda stream if you're carbonating a cocktail. In theory, this serves at least 2 people, but if you're serving in small champagne flutes, you can probably serve 3 or 4. The easiest way to measure this is to add everything except the tea into a measuring glass and then simply top it up with tea till it reaches 330 mils. You can scale this recipe up, but again, if you're carbonating in a soda stream, always carbonate roughly 330 mils at a time. Once you've mixed your cocktail, you want to thoroughly chill it. Leave it in the freezer and check on it every hour or so. Once you see some tiny ice crystals, you want to take it out and just barely let those melt, and then you're ready to carbonate. This footage is my mom helping me carbonate the cocktail. Again, cocktails can foam quite a bit, so be careful when releasing pressure between each carbonation cycle, but if you lose a little bit, it's not the end of the world. I recommend a triple carbonation. In the end, though, it did work, and the cocktail was fantastic. The citrus notes in the tea and the gin complemented each other, and the golden simple syrup enhanced the fruity peach flavor in the tea. If you can make a cocktail somewhat like this, I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider sharing and subscribing. If you have any questions about this cocktail, or even just cocktails and tea in general, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching.